is fixed for 15 years, so there's no future interest rate risk. The existing loan had a rate reset in January and was subject to reset every 5 years thereafter. So this locks us in for the term of the loan. And then lastly, it provides prepayment flexibility, more so than any of the other proposals, at any time and without penalty after half the loan. So the next steps, tonight I presented the results, and we are going to ask you to approve a authorizing resolution which gives us permission to move forward on the bond. Bond counsel, Dan, has put together form documents for you to review. We'll be finalizing those with your approval over the next week or two and close on the 2015 bond the week of December 21st. And that's all I have for you all today. And there's, like I said, in the appendix, there's a detailed summary bids received for your review.
Okay, now does board members have questions? Mr. Thomas?
Yes. I think we have a spreadsheet or a presentation similar to that one. So I don't know if you have it down there or you just have.
Yes, sir.
The one electronic. I have, I think, page 6 of the presentation says total estimated debt service. And you've got what the reset number is, and then fire truck debt service, and then sheriff car debt service.
Correct.
Which is a little fuzzier than what I'm looking at, but I think that's it. Now, our total, our total rate reset is 5.549 million. And then it's going to cost us 6.4 when we're done, right? So we're basically paying 900,000 to borrow this money over 15 years.
The rate reset portion only is on page 5. If you flip to page 5.
Okay.
So the rate reset portion only is going to be an increased cash flow of approximately $6,800 annually. But over the life of the loan, by shortening it,
then I get back 641.
Correct.
Okay, so that was where I was, only a page ahead. The page ahead, I want to figure out, because my point before was, why don't we just buy the sheriff's cars and the fire truck now? So I have to do the math on that to subtract the two myself.
Correct. If you look on the fire truck debt service, it's going to cost about $52,000 annually. If you look in the interest column on the bottom of that page, there's about $70,000 of interest associated with the fire truck. And then if you look in the last column under the sheriff car debt service, there's going to be about $24,000 of interest.
So when we did it before in November, it was like 120,000 we were guesstimating, but now you've got a better rate than the one
Correct.
you gave us.
We like I said, all 5 proposals were better than we anticipated, and DB&T's was the recommended rate at this time.
So the bottom line is it cost us $90,000, $95,000 to finance the fire truck and the sheriff's cars.
Over the life of the loan, correct.
Right.
But I think, Mr. Cully, you recommended that we not pay for those, and that we
had budgeted this. We had
right.
budgeted for this to be financed, and it's nice to be able to pay for these things. But I've got a lot more capital things that are coming towards you this coming year and another year before a lot of our development stuff comes. So I'm just trying to hang on to the money with interest rates being as low as they are, and be able to try to keep the tax rate level.
And I understand that. I just want to make sure I know what the numbers are, because the reality is, if we use too much of the unencumbered balance, we then have to get the cash flow loan, which costs us $100,000 to start.
So we're not
So
saving in there.
I understand that, but with all the discussion about debt, and we should not have any more debt, or we should take care of our debt, if we can save some money by using some of the unencumbered balance, that's a good thing. Now, the question for me, and I'll think about it while other people have their questions is $94,000, $95,000 worth of savings worth it when we talk about what the unencumbered balance would look like if we took $1 million out? And I think that's the reality.
It looks like about a $800,000 hit to your fund balance.
The only thing I would encourage you, as people talk about debt overall, just on the rate reset, you're going to save $626,000.
And I understand.
And so that you got maybe 95,000, so now you're only saving 500. So you're still saving 2 cents on the tax rate with this whole finance and package, including the interest on the fire truck and the police cars. We're trying to get to a point in the budget where we're going to be buying 5 school buses a year as a replacement cycle. And we're currently, since I've been here, had to finance all those. I'm trying to maybe this year buy 2 outright and finance 3. I'm trying to wean us off of all that, but it's hard to jump to that
and that's
at one bite. So that, y'all
that's
do
our
what
goal.
you want, but it's a goal to get there, but I'm not sure we're there yet. And given that these interest rates are this strong, this low, I would certainly encourage us to continue to finance these things and let us work toward that goal of these capital things of vehicles and trucks and trash trucks and things, be able to purchase those on a schedule and get away from finance. I'd love to get there, but I just don't think we're there yet.
And I understand that. All I'm trying to do is put all the facts as I know them out. The other fact that I know is our debt went down $12 million last year, based on, or it was 139, now it's 127. So
because we're currently paying
principal.
We're paying those principals down.
I mean, that's a good thing. So that's just my thing. I just want to make sure where we are versus buying or selling, or buying or financing. It's like at home. I don't have enough money to buy a new car. I got to finance it.
Okay, other questions? Thank you, sir. We appreciate your time.
We're going to get the lowest rate. We save the
Dan,
money
do we
every
get
time we
a
refinance.
resolution? Okay.
A motion is in order to move forward, or to allow them to move forward with what they need to do.
So move, Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, so the
Wrong button.
oh, wrong button, sorry. So the motion is that, to approve the resolution that's before you that authorizes going forward on this financing.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved
But
and
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Mr.
That's okay.
That's all right. It's been moved and properly second that we approve the resolution that's before us that allows them to move on with the process. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried. All right,
Thank you.
the dormitory, Mr., you had
Right, yes.
asked to the allowance of dormitory issue?
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Before Mr. Underwood starts, may I have a point of order? Because just to make sure we do it correctly, we can't just pull that agenda item up without a motion to reconsider. So I'm going to make the motion to reconsider for Mr. Underwood if he'll second it. And then if the board decides, we can go ahead and discuss it as much as you want.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to make a motion to reconsider.
Okay.
Since we voted against it at our last meeting.
Okay.
Mr. Underwood, would you second?
Second.
All right, it's been moved and properly second that we would reconsider the allowance of the dormitories from the last meeting. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Okay, now,
Mr. Chairman, I spoke to Mr. Jim Rapani, and I discussed my concern that we'd already given him a special exception to hook up to the septics, the water and sewer for the Virginia Sports Complex. As I told him, I would not and am not willing to negotiate the dormitory issue as part of him hooking up to the sewer system. So I wanted this board to know what I was discussing with him. My feeling is that I don't want the two to be connected, that I think he should hold up his end of the bargain. We gave him the special exception, that if he does that, then we will look at the dormitory text amendment, but I don't want to do a balancing act. So I want this board to be aware of where my feeling is. Certainly I want to be business friendly, but at the same time, I don't want to be backed into a corner and say that you said if I do this, you do this. So I want to come back to the board to get some comment about your feelings. Do you think we're heading in the right direction there, or you think we should work together to make this happen? And how can we?
One of the things, though, and this is, and correct me if I'm wrong, my understanding of what we did or did not do, we were looking at whether or not doing a text amendment that would allow dormitories in this setting. It really had nothing to do with him. It's my understanding.
I know, Mr. Chairman, but I know how people are. Once we say you can have dormitories, then it could become a legal issue as far as I'm concerned, where he says, well, I should be able to put dorms in. It's my right to do that.
No, with the special exception.
With the special exception.
Yeah. Right. But we would have to approve his special exception.
But what we're doing, or tried to do then and doing now, is we are only making a text amendment change that says dormitories are now allowed.
Period. Doesn't have anything to do with him.
Indirectly it does,
Well,
but
I mean,
theoretically has nothing to do with him.
Mr.
So
Finch.
in doing that, he has to come back for a special exception to get a dormitory.
Mr. Finch, this is the only location, only property in the county that this special exception or this tax amendment would apply to?
No, sir. I believe the board has approved 3 or 4 rural commercial recreational zonings.
Name them off.
Mr. B's. There's one off of Devil's 3 Jump that was for, I believe it was a sporting clay range, but that one's expired. That was like 10 years ago. They never did anything. And I believe there's one other that the board has approved. This is the only one where you have a training type facility where a dormitory, I think, would be viewed as consistent with the permit that's been issued. But there are 3 or 4 other rural commercial recreational zonings that the board has approved.
Getting to what Mr. Underwood was concerned about as far as the legal issue is concerned. Now, Mr. Bees, for instance, he has come back, as you know, and wanted to change some conditions. And I think it was for RVs.
It was to allow camping, yes, sir.
So now we're going to pass or amend an ordinance that says that you can put dormitories there, and would he be able to consider doing that?
I'm not sure that would be a dorm as much as it would be a motel or hotel.
Okay. Okay.
But the text amendment says at a sports facility. So it's fairly restrictive, and unless there's a golf course that's classified as a sports facility, which is not, this is the only one.
Okay.
And he's still got to come back for a special exception to get a dormitory. All we're doing is saying there's such a thing as dormitories. And I think that accelerates him more than anything else, because now he's got a reason to do it.
And I do think we have to look at the fact that
Yeah,
the hotels in the area, or that area, certainly is not conducive for people to come and to stay in, and it's not giving us a good reputation.
More of a short time.
You have signs of food, lot of parking lot. Those guys are.
Okay, other questions, other concerns?
No, just approve the text amendment.
I guess not.
Mr. Chairman,
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mr.
I'd make a motion that we approve the text amendment for dormitories.
Second.
So moved and properly second, that we approve the text amendment as presented, right? All in favor, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Okay, it takes us to new business, the first reading, text amendment 07-2015, sign regulation.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, you have before you tonight some proposed zoning amendments to the sign regulations that are related to planned development districts, specifically the planned shopping center district and the planned industrial park. Under the current ordinance in a planned development district, these sign regulations are both very restrictive and require a special exception permit for any sign that a business may want. An example of our current regulations was the YMCA, where they had to get a special exception permit from the board for a sign the size and height of which was already prescribed by the ordinance. So on the one hand, you have a set of regulations that define the height and the size of the sign, so you know what you can get. On the other hand, you still have to apply for a special exception permit in order to be able to install that sign. From a shopping center or commercial perspective, that seems a little restrictive if we're going to require every potential business to have to get a special exception for a sign the size of which is already identified in the ordinance. We also felt that the size of the signs was probably a little too prescriptive as well, given the size of a planned shopping center. So what we have crafted is a set of sign regulations to try to give a reasonable amount of signage for shopping centers, both the out parcels as well as the buildings within the strip center itself. So we've actually added or increased the signage that's otherwise allowed in the PSC district from our current regulations. We're also proposing that you eliminate the special exception process for every business that comes along, or every shopping center or every industrial park, provided they meet these sign regulations. You could still apply for a special exception if you want signage above and beyond that which is specified in the ordinance, subject to the standards for the granting of a special exception permit. But it seemed somewhat harsh to require every business to have to come in for a sign if it meets the sign regulations. These amendments are in part driven by the Ladysmith Crossing project, but the deficiencies in the ordinance are not limited to that application. It currently exists in terms of the SE requirements for any business sign, and we think those need to be addressed regardless. So we bring this to you as a first reading. The board has already authorized the expedited hearing process for Ladysmith Crossing, but we brought this to you tonight to try to keep all of the zoning changes consistent so that you can hear everything at your second meeting in January.
Board members have questions.
How does this affect places like Taco Bell on Carmel Church that wanted a bigger sign that
It doesn't.
didn't get one? This will be very specific just to this particular project?
This is specific to the PSC. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Seeley?
I guess I would, and well, there's time to discuss it, but I'd like to, look at what potentially might be there and what sign sizes we're talking about.
Sure.
Because it just, I've been a number of places and the signs can be mind-boggling. Size, shape, colors.
Understood.
And I just want to, I read this and was like, but is there something we could do, I mean, take something, put some buildings on and tell us what signage that would actually be allowed?
Yes, sir. We'll do some graphics, some examples based upon the ordinance. I will tell you that the applicant is requesting a special exception for even more signage than what we specified here. So we can do some graphics for you which identify the signs that would be allowed under this proposed ordinance as well as what they are requesting.
That would be great, thank you.
And we'll have that for your public hearing. And if you want us, we'll try to have the examples to you beforehand so that if you have any questions, we can be prepared at the public hearing.
Okay, thank you.
So what we need to do at this point is to go to first reading.
Our request is for you to authorize the public hearing at your January 26th meeting.
Motion is in order.
So moved.
Second.
All right, been moved and proper second that we would authorize public hearing for text amendment 07-2015. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Closing board comments, do you have any, Mr. Thomas?
Mr. Chairman, I abstained on that.
Oh,
I abstained
okay.
on the motion.
Motion 5 in favor and 1 abstention. Mr. Akers. Okay, any closing arguments? Any closing comments? Oh, I'm sorry. Calendar. I guess I'm not here. What can I say?
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, you can see we included your capital projects report. The radio system, you see we're pretty much 93% complete. That goes live tomorrow at 9 a.m., I think, is the cutover.
I think it was that. He sent out an email for it already.
So that's good to get that project pretty much finished up. Ladysmith Fire Station renovations are moving along fairly well as well. As far as the calendar, Friday afternoon, 3 to 5, we do have a reception planned at the OC for Mr. Akers and Mr. Taylor. 5 o'clock is the Bowling Green Christmas Parade on Saturday the 12th. Noon to 2 is the employee holiday luncheon at Bowling Green Town Hall. That's Wednesday. Then on the 17th, 4 to 6, reception for Sharon Carter, and that will be in her office where she wanted to have that. And then on the 21st, 4 to 5:30, there's a swearing-in ceremony in the circuit courtroom.
I can't come. I got something to do.
Okay, you're going to be busy, okay. Offices are closed on the 24th and 25th, and of course then again for January 1st. We do have the annual legislative reception at Larry's. If anybody's interested in going, please contact Mrs. Hall to get that reservation set. And then our organizational meeting for 2016 is on the 12th, 6 o'clock in this room. And we, of course, can go out further, but it's, we'll cover some more of that on the 12th.
Sounds good. Okay, any questions? Okay, closing board comments, Mr. Thomas, do you have any?
Other than that, unfortunately, I will be in New York this week, and I will miss the reception. But I will.
You can send your donation.
I will send you. Well, I can give you my donation right now. But I do want to say to Mr. Taylor and Mr. Akers, it's been a pleasure serving with you these years.
Mr. Black?
No, sir, not at this time. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Underwood?
I just wanted to echo Mr. Thomas's sentiment. Certainly have enjoyed working with you and Mr. Akers over the last 5 years. So appreciate all your help, guidance, and look forward to continued relationships. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Akers?
Mr. Chairman, I think I've pretty much said all that I need to say and have to say. I certainly wish the new board well, and I wish Caroline County well. I want it to be very strong and a very valuable county, and so I'm wishing it well as also.
Thank you, Mr. Akers. Mr. Sealy?
I have none, Mr. Chairman.
And I too, again, thank you again and again for all that you've done. It's been a really an enjoyable situation, and I'm going to miss it. Good luck. Thank you.
We need to go to closed session. Can we go in the small room to do the closed session rather than up here? Because I think it'll be easier to hear.
Okay, let's.
I'm going to make a motion.
Go ahead and do the motion.
I'll make a motion that the board convene in closed session pursuant to the acquisition of real property, contracting the legal exemptions under 2.2-3711A3, 2.2-378A29, and 32237A7 of the Code of Virginia, to discuss the potential acquisition of real estate for the county's wastewater system and a contract therefore, where decisions in open meeting would adversely affect the county's bargaining position or negotiation strategy. The second would be contract and legal exemptions 2.2-311A29 and 2.2-37A7 of the Code of Virginia to discuss terms of a performance agreement with an economic development perspective, where discussion in open meeting would adversely affect the county's bargaining position or negotiating strategy. And number three, the personnel exemption of 2.23711A1 of the Code of Virginia to discuss personnel matters relating to new duties, compensation, and personnel made necessary by the adoption of the newly adopted property maintenance code provision.
Okay, is there a second? It's been moved and properly second that we would go into closed session under the just mentioned codes. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye. All in favor, I'm sorry, let it be known by saying aye. All opposed, motion carries. December 9th, Board of Supervisors meeting. Motion to come out of executive session is in order.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Been moved and properly second that we come out of executive session. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Mr. Thomas, do you agree that we only discuss those issues that we went into executive session to discuss?
I so certify, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Mr. Black,
I so certify, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Underwood,
I so certify, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Akers,
I so certify, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Sealy,
I so certify, Mr. Chairman.
and I so certify as well. All right, we need a motion to approve the performance agreement as presented.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second. Been moved and properly second that we approve the performance agreement as presented. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries unanimously. We need an approval of the resolution for MB Auto at a cost of $400,000.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and properly second that we approve the resolution for MB Auto at a cost of $400,000. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries unanimously.
We need, Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we promote Kevin Whiteman to grade 27 as the Virginia, according to Virginia Code, to be property maintenance administrator.
It's been moved and properly second of the promotions of Kevin Whiteman as presented. All in favor, let it be known by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries unanimously. Move to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Moved and properly second that we adjourn.